Hi guys, welcome back to Girl Therapy. I'm your host Nicole. Thank you so much for coming back another week. I'm laughing because I just started recording and I didn't start recording on my camera and I was like, why did it just go black like a minute in? That's so odd. I'm feeling like a little discombobulated. Maybe it's from the holidays. Like I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. This time between holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas is just a weird limbo, and I feel like we all kind of get into this weird like lazy funk and we're like, what's going on? Are we all on vacation? It just doesn't feel real. And plus I'm always thrown off by the seasons here because there are no seasons, so that also I'm like, I don't know what time it is or what's going on in the world. But anyways, I had a lovely Thanksgiving. I spent it with my friends. We went to Soho House and it was really nice. It was my second Thanksgiving not going home. But as I explained, like this is my home now and I want to start doing my holidays here. I love it here. This is my home. Like it doesn't feel not normal, but it's not like when I say, oh, I'm going to go home for the holidays, like Connecticut's not home anymore. This is my home. This is where I want to spend time. And I would love if my family started coming here, especially because it's so much warmer and I'm so over the cold. It's even like 60 degrees here in the morning and I'm shivering, but I love it. But I am just hoping that they want to spend holidays here moving forward. But yeah, so I hope that you had a lovely holiday, whether you spent it with friends or family. And hopefully last week's episode helped on how to deal with family and everything like that, and setting boundaries, and also just accepting your parents or your grandparents or whoever it is for who they are. I also grabbed dinner with my dad, which was really nice. And it definitely, it tested me, but it also has shown how much I've grown and how much I'm able to apply the things that I've learned. And I'm at a point where, like I explained in one of my TikToks too, is just letting people be who they are. And it'll just make your life so much easier and more pleasant, and the holidays more pleasant, especially we have Christmas coming around the corner too. So that's also going to be potentially a stressful time. So maybe we can do an episode before that as well. And I don't know if you guys have anything specific that you want me to talk about. Maybe now is the time that if you're, thinking about going sober, you have been sober, the holidays are a lot of pressure. So I can do an episode on whatever you guys want. Feel free to message me on Instagram and I'll see what I can do. But this week's episode is going to be about 8 unconventional ways to be confident, because I feel like whenever we talk about confidence, a lot of it is the same advice. I feel like there are little things or maybe different things that you can do to help build your confidence. And there's just the things that people aren't talking about as much. So I wanted to try to do something a little bit different and think outside the box. So the first one, and what made me think of it, was because I was on a walk last week, and something that I do, and maybe it's a little bit creepy, but whenever I'm passing people, I always try to make eye contact and smile at them, or try to say hi to them. And it's kind of like the tension between walking past somebody who is the same age as you for some reason is so weird. I have no problem doing it with people who are younger, with people who are older. There's something about the tension between people who are the same age or also attractive, and it's like, oh, are we flirting? Are you gonna think I'm hitting on you? Or you think I'm weird? Are you judging me? Are you looking at me? I think we're worried about constantly how people are perceiving us, and more so people who are kind of in our bracket or demographic, if that makes sense, because we don't want people to think a certain way about us. It helps me build my confidence, honestly, when I just walk past somebody. It could be anybody, but I really try harder, because it's what challenges me more, to smile and make eye contact with specifically guys too, who are my same age. And this could be great for if you are single as well and trying to build your confidence in dating, or maybe even approaching guys or making yourself seem more approachable. Because I think a lot of people always ask, how do I get a guy to approach me? And a lot of it is just eye contact. And sometimes that's the hardest thing, but that is what shows people that you are friendly, that you are warm, that you are welcoming. If you are 9 times out of 10, if you are in a relationship, if I'm a girl and I'm in a relationship, I'm not like gonna be making heavy eye contact with other guys because I think that's a way to invite people in. I will try to make eye contact and say hi to people that I pass by, whether it's be on my walks, whether it's my day to day, I'm running errands. Like I will literally just smile and say hi. And a lot of the times, people will start talking to me. And in those scenarios, that's also a great way to build confidence, is to hold conversations with strangers, with just people who pass by. And it doesn't have to be a thing. It doesn't have to lead to a date. And it doesn't have to just be a guy too. It could be females as well. Or if you're a guy, it could be another guy. If you're a girl, it could be another. It doesn't matter. It could be anybody. But holding conversations with strangers is also an amazing way to, one, practice just your social skills, and holding a conversation and just being curious about people. I think it's one of the most attractive things that you can do. And in that, I think it just builds confidence because you are just building your like social intelligence and being able to learn about somebody and talk to somebody. It does something to you. Like you walk away from that conversation feeling reinvigorated. Like I love asking people questions about themselves and hearing people's stories and what they have going on. Or even if it's just somebody who, is making my coffee. Hey, how are you today? Like striking up little conversations with strangers and people you don't know, especially if you are somebody who has social anxiety, or you get, nervous out in public or talking to strangers or talking to just anybody outside of your comfort zone. This is a great exercise for you to do to help build your confidence, because you'll start to realize like, wow, like people are just people. People are very friendly. People for the most part want to have conversation and crave that interaction because it's what we are lacking so much in today's world. So it's just whenever I make eye contact with people, whenever I have conversations, little interactions with people throughout my routine in the morning and that wherever I'm going, I always just like feel super confident. Like you walk away a little bit, standing a little taller. Maybe they complimented you, maybe you complimented them. And that also does something to you, which is going to bring you to my third one. So my first one is eye contact, maintaining that, saying hi to people, smiling. My second one is holding conversations with strangers. And don't like be talking to everybody like stranger danger, but if you feel inclined to potentially talk to somebody or just engage in a little mini conversation with somebody who maybe you typically wouldn't because maybe it makes you nervous, do it. I promise you'll start to realize people don't bite and people love talking. And it's also just fun to learn about other people. And then you start to build connections and relationships with people as well. I think that's one of the best, like fulfilling things is when I walk into a place that I frequent and I just have that small talk. Hey, and people's names and, ask people's names too. That's a big one. Like I just walked into a restaurant a couple days ago and I had recognized the host and he started talking. He remembered me. So then I was like, oh my God, like what's your name? And his name was Derek. And then now me and Derek have a relationship. And that's also just something so nice. And I think it builds your confidence in that way as well. I don't know what it is about that, but I think like walking into the room, like knowing who you are and bringing that good energy and being really welcoming and hi and this and that does something, because you don't walk into a room and look down and cower away and am afraid to interact with the people in the room. Like really walk into rooms and own it and make eye contact and strike up conversation and ask people their names and just be curious and be present and don't try to be smaller. Make your presence known. So my next one that kind of has to go hand in hand in that, like I just said, is complimenting people. For some reason, whenever I compliment other people, I always feel more confident about myself. And I think it is the fact that, one, it's kind of like reinforcing positive self-talk. And if I can talk about a stranger like kindly or like something on a stranger, I can absolutely like that thing about me. Because sometimes we compliment people or we say like, you look this and that and that. And then we're so hard and critical on ourselves where it's like, maybe somebody you could have the same exact, like I'm trying to take you out of your own head for a minute, but like maybe there's something on you that you don't like. And then if somebody else had that thing from an outside perspective, you might look at that and be like, oh, I like that. But because it's on you or it's your thing or your insecurity, you don't like it, but on somebody else, It's not. Like, I have a friend who's super insecure about her cellulite, and she barely has any, okay? And like, I have a little too. That's totally normal. Like, I have an ass, I have thighs. Like, you're gonna have a little cellulite. And she's like, you don't have any, like, you're perfect. I'm like, I literally do. And you're so hard and critical about your own cellulite. But with mine, you're like, oh, it's beautiful. It's barely there. It's not noticeable. I'm like, why don't you talk about yourself like that? Because I feel the same way about you. So I think something about complimenting strangers just gives you that, reinforces the positive self-talk, and kind of makes you think like, you know what, like, if I can appreciate that on that person, if I can appreciate that person's quality that makes them different or special, I can appreciate those things about me as well. And just saying positive things throughout the day. Like, I never try to say anything negative about anybody or myself. But I also think that when you compliment other people, you are not viewing them as competition. It's reinforcing that thought as well. Because when you see somebody and maybe they are prettier than you, maybe they have something that you want, like, there's always going to be somebody prettier, richer, smarter, this, that, whatever, more successful. But when you compliment somebody, you're not putting them on a pedestal, but you're also not viewing them as competition. You're saying, I can appreciate that about you, or I can feel inspired to also want that thing or have that thing. And because you have it, or because you look that way, does not take it away from me, or does not take any beauty away from me either. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And when you spread positivity like that, something about that just builds confidence. When you are an uplifting person and you show that, like, you support the people around you, that just like oozes confidence, because somebody who is confident is not going to try to tear the people around them down. They're going to try to, build them up and be like, yeah, I really admire that about that person. Do not view people as competition, but as inspiration, always. And no matter who it is and no matter what they have. So that's my fourth one. Compliment the people around you. Or if somebody else compliments somebody around you, piggyback on it and be like, yeah, like, that is actually really inspiring, or I actually do really like that about that person. My next one, I don't know what it is, but whenever I wear jewelry, I feel more confident, like a lot of it. Like, whenever I have like really loud jewelry on, or like stack a bunch of things, like recently I've just been like stacking like all like my bracelets, like, and like wearing, like, just throwing stuff on to wear, like earrings, stacking my earrings, doing like a nice little dangly fun earring. And it could be whatever that is for you. Maybe like there's certain accessories that make you feel really good, or maybe overdressing for things make you feel good. Like, dress up too. Put yourself together. Get up every day, do a little something, brush your eyebrows, curl your lashes, put some oil in your hair, lotion your body. Like, take care of yourself. Show yourself, like, I care about you and I value you. Be proud of your appearance. And when you take pride in that does something to your confidence, instead of always walking around and, like, listen, there is a time and a place. I love my sweatpants, throwing my hair in a bun, looking like a mess. But if you do that for a couple days in a row, you're going to start to feel really bad about yourself and really down, and maybe you won't want to go out, or maybe you don't feel motivated. There's something about throwing on a nice outfit, throwing on some jewelry, showing yourself like, hey, I care about myself and how I look. And it's not just an exterior thing of like needing people's validation to say that you look good, like take your ego out of it. It's purely just taking care of yourself or nurturing yourself and showing up for yourself. I kind of got into a funk for a little while where, like, I started to not, and I don't really care what you guys see me as. Like, I think I'm very real on the internet. So it's like, you're going to see a lot of different versions of me, and I'm not, constantly throwing on makeup to be on camera, but I am making sure that I look somewhat put together. And there was a time in my life where, like, I was like, oh, well, like, they know what I look like now. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't have to get dressed up. But then I found myself, like, every day, like, wanting to record less and less and wanting to do less and less, and just not being as, like, myself, because I just wasn't feeling as confident. So even when I wasn't getting ready for the day, it was like a little bit of my personality was not shining through, or not there. Or maybe I wasn't as funny, or maybe I wasn't as willing to speak up or do something or hold eye contact for longer. When you care about your appearance and you take care of yourself, you're more likely to want to go out and do things and talk to people and engage in people and just be more productive. And it just is a good routine to have. So yeah, every morning I get up, even if I'm just recording one little TikTok, I'm going to make sure that I look semi put together and semi decent. And even if nobody sees me that day, it just makes me feel better. And it does something to my productivity. And then when I'm more productive, I'm also more confident. When I am taking care of my space and the things that I have to do around me, I'm showing up for myself and I'm proving myself like I can do this and I can do hard things. Make sure that you are keeping your promises to yourself. So this will be my next one. And challenging yourself and actually educating yourself and teaching yourself something new. So making sure that you are, one, like getting the shit that you have to get done. And two, constantly be learning something. Try to learn a new thing every single day. And also continue to educate yourself, whether it's through reading books or if there's something that you want to do, take a course. For me, like the yoga teacher training has helped boost my confidence so much, not just because it's made me have to be, helped with my communication and have to speak in front of a lot of people and lead a room. Yes, that does something to my confidence. But it's like now I know stuff and I know facts. I know how to help people in a certain way. I have actual tactics and strategies and things that I can give people to cope with anxiety or stress, or like I know if somebody's like, oh, I'm tight in this area, I know how to help them out. If somebody needs an adjustment, I know how to do that stuff. And I can lead a flow. And there's something about that and learning also the philosophy behind yoga that has given me so much more confidence. When you know things, you're confident. It's always when you don't know things or know what's going on in the world or knowing this or that you're not confident. You don't want to contribute to the conversation because you don't want to sound stupid. If you don't want to sound stupid, educate yourself. Learn things. And you don't have to know everything, but pick something that you're passionate about and learn about it. I don't care if you're passionate about cars. I don't care if you're passionate about tires. I don't care if you're passionate about makeup. I don't care. Whatever it is that you are passionate about, dive into it and get good at it. Like fine tune that skill. I feel like it's better to be, not better, but there was a time, I've pretty much always been the type of person who's like good at a little bit of everything. And that didn't really boost confidence for me. And as I've gotten older, I've decided what I really care about. And I learn about those things more in depth. And then the other things that I don't know about, maybe there's somebody else in my life who knows more about that thing. And I try to educate myself as much as possible then on that topic. And I'll be curious and I'll ask questions. And I think another way to boost your confidence is to ask questions and to be okay with not knowing things and not always being right, but being curious and wanting to know more. A confident person is okay with being wrong, is okay with not knowing everything, is okay with somebody else in the room possibly knowing more about that thing or being more intelligent. A confident person is okay with being a student and not always having to be the teacher. And I will forever be a student to anything. There's, like I said, there's always somebody who knows something more. So never close that part off, because when you do that, you limit yourself, you limit your mindset, you limit the things that you can learn. And people don't like that energy of a know-it-all or people who know things or feel like they're better than you or know things. So stay curious, stay, educating yourself and diving into things that you really care about. And you can do that through books. You can do that through podcasts. You can do that through YouTube, documentaries. I love watching a good documentary on Netflix here and there. It gives me, it's something, one, to like talk about and bring to the table, but it educates me about a specific topic. And it could be anything. Like even if like 1 week I'm just like, I want to learn about aliens. Like I go through weird things where I'm like, I want to like know what's going on with the aliens right now. And I'll find a documentary and I'll watch that. And it's nice just to know things. Knowing things will give you confidence. Okay, another thing that kind of maybe goes hand in hand in that. I just learned about this, a win journal. And I love that because I think that we're so good at remembering the things that are bad, that have happened badly to us. Like a lot of the times when people ask, like, how's your day going? Like you usually don't riddle off all the amazing things that happened to you that day. Like it's usually nothing, or you're like, oh, like this happened, so my day could be better. People don't like to talk about the good things as much, or we never take a moment, a beat to pat ourselves on the back and be like, wow, I did that really good today. Like I did really good at this today, or, I killed that workout today. Or even like just the small accomplishments that we do every day in life. Even after I taught my yoga classes, I didn't really yet relish in that of like, wow, Nicole, you just taught 2 yoga classes. And a month ago, you were starting to get doubts and self-limiting beliefs that like you couldn't even lead a class and that this was too much for you and you couldn't memorize a flow and you couldn't do this and that. It's like, I just taught 2 classes flawlessly and I killed it and I felt so confident. We have to keep a win journal, because when you do that, you can see how far you've come. Because I think when you're in the moment, you're in the present, you forget where you came from, because we forget oftentimes that we are living the dream. Our reality is once our dream. The life that I'm living right now was once my dream, but because I'm living it, I don't think about it like that. I don't think about all the stuff that I had to get there. I'm just here in this moment. And I don't think about like how much shit I've gone through to be here and how many things that I had to do to be here and how hard I had to work. It's not often that I sit back and reflect on that. All I am thinking about is the things that I want moving forward and how to keep elevating. So keeping a win journal and being able to look back at that and be like, wow, I did that. I accomplished all these things on my own is so important, because it will just remind you that there was a time when you never thought that you could have the things that you do have. And now here you are having them. And now it's like where I'm at, this was my dream. And now I want more. And that's amazing. But like, keep that win journal to remind yourself, to help build your confidence of things aren't so far out of reach. And in a couple years, I'm going to have those things that I want. And then there's going to be other things that I want. So taking a beat, writing down all your wins, and being proud of yourself and talking about your accomplishments and not being ashamed to tell people that you're proud of yourself or speak about the things that you've done. Like, don't be afraid to share your successes, and obviously always stay humble, but you're allowed to brag about yourself a little bit and be proud of yourself, and don't let somebody say that you can't be. My next one is like an actual physical thing that you can do, but it's sitting up tall and making sure that you're like checking in on your body language. Somebody who is sitting up tall, shoulders are back, scanning around the room, they're not slouched over, they're not fidgeting a lot, they're not playing with their hair a lot, whatever it is. We all have like our little tics when we get nervous and this and that, and that's okay. But making sure that you are holding yourself and holding space and not being afraid to take up space and looking alert is a great way to build confidence. Whenever I sit up tall and you can take a power position with your hands too. And there's a few of them. I think we see a lot of businessmen. We actually just learned about this in yoga a couple of days ago. We've learned about mudras and things that you can do with your hands, and all of them mean certain things. But a lot of times we see business people with all their fingertips pushed like together. I'm trying to do it. If you're watching me right now, wait here, I'll do it for you. It's like this, If you're not watching right now, you can get on YouTube right now. But I basically just put all my fingertips together, and it's like when you're doing a deal and you're talking to somebody and you're like, boop, we've seen people do that. That is a power stance. That is you asserting your dominance and you being very confident. So when you have your hands like that and out and not tucked away, hiding behind you in your pockets, that's giving more like you're hiding. I also talk with my hands a lot. That makes me that does something to me too. But so yeah, checking in on your posture and your body language is super important. Speaking of hands, this just made me think, getting a fresh manicure, and this goes back to the maintenance thing, taking care of yourself. But when I have a fresh manicure, and it doesn't mean I have to have a long set, even though a long set does something to me, like gives me an attitude and I'm suddenly like blah, 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 like this, that, like talk to anybody, I'll be pointing at things. But whenever I have my nails done, I feel so much more confident, because it just shows that you care about yourself, and it just nobody like wants to look at somebody with dirty fingernails. I'm sorry. Take care of yourself. Yes, it's a maintenance thing. Yes, it's annoying sometimes. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself. Even if I'm not seeing anybody that week, I want to have my nails done. When my nails look like crap, I feel like crap. I feel weird. I feel deranged. Like I need them done. And even if you just do them yourself at home, that's fine. Just making sure that you're taking care of yourself. And especially if you're working any sort of like industry where you're constantly having like your nails, like your feet out or something like that. Like now that I'm teaching yoga classes, I'll always have my pedicure, my toes done, because I'm not going to be the girl, the yoga teacher who has, you know, the scary feet and people are going to be like, her feet are scary. Like I want to walk around that yoga studio confidently where if I'm putting my foot on somebody's mat, they're looking at a pedicured, nicely maintained foot, you know. My last and final way, this may have been 9 ways, guys, because I just threw that one in, is to go places alone. Obviously, always be safe. But I think when you go places alone, one, it's challenging yourself. You're teaching yourself that you can do hard things, especially if somebody who gets nervous going alone. Like the best way to build confidence is to challenge yourself because it's only scary once. Once you start doing it, it'll become the new normal. But going places alone, one, because you're forced to talk to people sometimes who you wouldn't typically talk to, and you're pretty like vulnerable and you're out in the open. Like people in packs always feel safer and we feel more secure and we feel more comfortable. So putting yourself in that uncomfortable position, maybe you take yourself to lunch, to breakfast, to dinner, maybe you go to like a new workout class alone, something like that. It just helps build confidence because you're forced to come out of your shell. You're forced to talk to people. And a lot of the times those are the best things because you make friends that way. You make a community that way by showing up alone. I think somebody who's alone is so confident. We get so nervous to like go somewhere alone because we think people are looking at us weird or why is that person alone? No, whenever I see somebody alone at dinner, wherever they are, on a workout class, this or that, I'm like, oh, like they're a super confident person. I'm not thinking, oh, this is their first time here either. I'm thinking like they probably come here. This is probably their thing. I love that for them. So go places alone and take up space, make eye contact, strike up conversations with people. Chances are you already have something to talk about with that person. If you're in the same place at the same time, you already have one commonality. So just play off of that. And you'll also make new friends that way. People won't approach it's very rare that I approach somebody and strike up a conversation with somebody or make a new friend with somebody if they're in pairs or any more than that, because I'm like, oh, that person like brought their friend there. They're probably not going to want to, talk to me. There's cases where, that happens sometimes and you can end up striking a conversation with a pair of friends or something, but it's not often that you then leave that space like with a new friend. That's just personally. Whenever I meet people, it's usually because I'm alone and they're alone and we start talking. I think that ended up being 9 ways. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you guys gained something from this episode and you walk around with more confidence. Your homework this week is to go on walks, make eye contact with people, maybe take yourself on a date by yourself, and start writing down some wins and compliment a stranger this week. Make somebody feel good about themselves, and then also compliment yourself always, every single day, multiple compliments throughout the day. But I love you guys so much. I will talk to you next week on next week's episode of Girl Therapy. Make sure you're following me on all platforms. Nicole Doyon on Instagram, Nicole_Doyon on TikTok, Nicole Doyon on Snapchat, Nicole Doyon on YouTube. And that's it. I love you guys. Bye.